Right now, the day's biggest news stories from a Vegas perspective. This is the Vegas Take with Sharp and Shapiro.
11 o'clock hour on your way. The Vegas Take, 101.1 FM, 720 AM KDAWN, the talk of Las Vegas. Chris Wynn is in for Brian Shapiro along with J.D. Sharp. Jump on to Twitter. Follow us at the Vegas Take. We have a poll up there. If you had any issues, J.D., with POTUS, Donald Trump, personally and politically, and meet him, would you still shake his hand? Pretty close vote, J.D. 52% to 47%. Yes, I would. 52%, 47%. Hell no. Wouldn't shake the president's hand.
Hell no.
I'd shake his hand.
I don't know how you can't.
I'd definitely say hi to Melania. I'm a big
Why don't you shake his hand and tell him something negative about himself? Why don't you take that opportunity?
That would be funny. Like, you shake his hand and you smile at him, but while you're smiling, you're actually talking to him and you're just absolutely lambasting him over something.
If you think you're only going to get a couple seconds, but if you think he's a racist prick, say, "Hey, I think you're a racist prick." Yeah. Shake his hand and say something negative, but still shake the guy's hand. He's still the president of the United States. If you disagree with him, fine. You're one of many, but take the opportunity if it presents itself.
Well, J.D., the president was at the World Series this year as the Washington Nationals were able to win the first World Series in franchise history, as they were the Nationals, of course, the Montreal Expos. Big story out of Major League Baseball that broke yesterday. You can call it what you want. You can call it a kneecapping. You could call it a slaughter. Whatever it is, the Houston Astros are in turmoil as big names were fired across the board. General Manager Jeff Luhnow and also manager A.J. Hinch. First, J.D., they were suspended by the league for a year, and then Jim Crane did what a lot of people thought Jim Crane would do.
Cleaned house and
decided to fire both of them amidst the sign-stealing scandal that has gone down. Now, look, this is something that's transpired over the past few years. It also involves Alex Cora, who just happens to be the manager of the Boston Red Sox right now. So this isn't just something that's going to stop in Houston, Texas with the Astros. And, of course, now the scene shifts to the Boston area and whether or not the Boston Red Sox are still going to keep Alex Cora, given he is going to face some type of punishment, right, JD? It is pretty much a foregone conclusion that Alex Cora is probably going to face something around at least a year suspension by Major League Baseball. And so that's going to make the Boston Red Sox make a decision because are you going to have an interim manager with the Red Sox next year and then say, oh, yeah, we're going to bring back Alex Cora now after the horrendous press and horrendous black eye.
Well,
this gives to Major League Baseball whole thing.
Yeah, it sounds like Alex Cora.
The Red Sox can't keep him, right?
And it sounds like Alex Cora is the one who kind of created the entire concept. I think he might get banned from Major League Baseball for life.
I don't think that's beyond the possibility whatsoever.
I don't think that's. I mean, considering what took place, A.J. Hinch was a top 4 or 5 manager. That GM did a really, really good job for the Astros. Look at that team; they built a one hell of a pitching staff and a lineup. I mean, they drafted really well. Obviously, I mean, he knew what he was doing, but the owner felt strongly about that to let him go. I think Alex Cora has a legitimate chance of never being involved in Major League Baseball again.
How fired up are Los Angeles Dodger fans and the Dodgers themselves, given that they lost a World Series to the Houston Astros, and then they lost to Alex Cora's Boston Red Sox also? This has got to be infuriating for Dodger fans. Now, look, all of us baseball fans that have followed the sport, I don't think we should get over our skis on this because I think there's a lot of franchises that have done things that are nefarious, okay? And I don't know necessarily in the long run. Look, should the Houston Astros be stripped of the World Series? I don't know about that. Because I think as long as baseball's been around, teams have been stealing signs. Now, the way they did this obviously is second level, and it's akin to what modern technology is today. That combined with banging on trash cans, but the point being is that this is something.
On a trash can.
It's not like the Houston Astros are the only team that's done this, right? I can't believe that. That the Astros are the only ones that have done it. And by extension, so now that Alex Cora is in Boston, that possibly, and by the way, the Red Sox are under investigation, I believe, for the same type of activities, stealing signs. So, the ship is still hasn't sailed on that as far as the Red Sox are concerned. But the point being is that it's been around for a while. Okay, so I don't know if this is something we should, you don't throw the baby out with the bathwater kind of thing, where, let's not go crazy and act like it's something that's rampant and that it destroys all credibility in Major League Baseball. It doesn't. The Astros did it. They got caught, and the Red Sox might be facing a little bit of the wrath also. So I would kind of leave it at that. Basically, what I'm saying is this: Dodger fans, you're screwed because I don't think you're not getting appointed a World Series champion. It's not like there was a college basketball team that won a national championship, and there was players that should have been ineligible on the team or whatever. They didn't give it to the runner-up. Okay, that's not what's gonna happen here. All right, the Dodgers not going to be considered 2017 world champions. None of that's going to go down. But it clearly does give a black eye, JD, to Major League Baseball, and I guess it serves as a notice for all people out there. You better be on the up and up, and you better not trying to do. Might not be trying to pull any shenanigans when it comes to stealing signs or any other things that you're doing out there where you're cheating. And obviously, when you think about baseball, everyone thinks about performance-enhancing drugs and steroids and that kind of thing. And I get that because when you're talking about steroids, what sport more cares about numbers? What sport cares about, home run leaders, cares about, career batting averages, cares about pitchers winning 300 games.
Major League Baseball, it needs.
So,
it's not exactly a fun sport to watch.
Yeah,
it's a statistician's dream. It's my best sport. I'm one of the better baseball bettors in the United States of America. But you're right; it does need exciting things like a pitcher who throws 102, a guy who hits it 480 feet outside of the stadium. It needs stuff like that.
But I get why
Major League Baseball, but it is. I mean, it's very numbers driven. It's very numbers based.
Yeah. And that's the thing and that's why performance-enhancing drug. You got to get it out of the game. You have to try everything in your power to get it out of the game.
They're so big now; it doesn't make a difference. You can't
have Barry Bonds. You can't have people shattering records where you're, actually, where you're having issues with that. So this is something that's, look, it's going to linger, no question. And we want to jump to the phone lines because we have our own host right here at KDWN, does a great job with SportsX Radio, and I think he wants to weigh in on this. And I want to get Ken's thoughts on this also. Ken Thompson joins us, host of SportsX Radio here every night, 8 to 10 p.m. on KDWN. Ken, what's going on?
What's up, KT?
Chris, first off, man, I got JD has got to be like in his glory because not only does he win all this money on LSU, he goes to work the next day and doesn't have to deal with Shapiro. It's unbelievable.
And you know what's classic, KT?
It doesn't get any better than that.
KT, you know what's classic is that
it feels really good.
Is JD, normally he rolls in here, he's got his textbook sweet kind of designer white T-shirt on. Not the case today, my friend. I think he went and got a nice Westgate brand new red T-shirt. He's looking flashy in studio here. He looks like somebody that put a few more ducats into his bank account.
This is a shirt I bought a long time ago, but I'm definitely repping the Westgate. They paid me off nice last night, and it's got that red Donald Trump power tie.
It does
look to it, and I'm very pro-Trump, and this is part of the conversation.
I
hope you leave one of those ties with Chris Wynn on the way out the door, man, because Chris will wear it proudly. I know that.
And I'll be looking sharp too, KT.
He'll definitely take pictures.
All right,
behind the scenes.
Chris's tie will swing to the left a little bit, but don't mind that. It'll still,
that's funny.
It'll be red.
He could Zach Smith it though. You never know.
All right, so there's a couple. Ken, there's a couple things I want to get to you on. I want to get to you on the story with the Houston Astros, obviously, and I also want to get to you on a snubbing in the Pro Football Hall of Fame. First, with this Houston Astros story, how important do you think this is? Do you think this is something that is going to be lingering? Do you think it's something that is prevalent in Major League Baseball? That Major League Baseball as a whole is going to have a real issue trying to get out of the game?
Chris, here's the thing, man, because I'm good friends with Andy Concepcion. Andy's actually over at the Meadows School, and he's from Puerto Rico. Him and his baseball guys, he's ran On Deck Baseball Academy. He's an awesome guy. And Alex, Joey Cora, the Cora family is big time over there. But even Andy and I have been texting back and forth. how the pressure to win and whatnot. But at the end of the day, Alex Cora sold his soul to devise this scheme. It worked all well and good, but you can't go back and replay a World Series, just like the Rams can't go back and replay the Patriots in the Super Bowl with the Spygate. And had Goodell, had the huevos that Manfred has to come down with a suspension like this. In other words, if he suspends Belichick for a year, who knows what Kraft ends up doing as far as that goes. But they didn't. They slap him on the wrist. You're going to find some organization that's a multi-billion-dollar organization, a few $1 million in a draft choice. That's not as big a deterrent as what you have here. And Alex Cora, he will face the music. He will get 2-year suspension, which will then in turn put the Red Sox on the spot. They will fire his ass. Take it from me. They will fire his ass. They will make an example, because I love Crane, the owner for Houston. He didn't wait more than an hour after the suspensions were handed down to come out and fire both those jokers, because you know what? They had a good enough team to win it, but maybe not good enough, because when you look at the discrepancies from Dodger Stadium, the 3 games there, the 4 games in Houston, they are night and day. You hear the trash can banging. You see the home run from Altuve when he knows what kind of pitch is coming. These guys are that good. When you see a Peyton Manning or you see an Aaron Rodgers to Devontae Adams pass on a 3rd down that's literally looks like he took it and put it right in his hand, that's the level of expertise these guys have. So when Altuve knows a curveball's coming, you can bet he's sitting back waiting on it. You know that ball's going into orbit, baby. And that's why they paid the piper. And what's so amazing is somehow the Washington Nationals were able to overcome anything this year and take care of business and win the World Series, because I'm just glad Houston didn't win it again. I feel bad for the city because they thought they had something legit, but there will always be an asterisk next to it in anybody's mind that knows the sport, just like the Rams-Patriots Super Bowl. If you know what's coming, if you know the first 15 plays that are scripted, you've got a major advantage, and something's got to be done, and that's why I commend Manfred for coming down the way he did.
Well, you know what, and it kind of proves, I hate to say this, but you know, when you cheat, you win. Period. I mean, name any cheaters at the highest level who haven't been winners in the last 10 years, KT.
But let me tell you, JD, here's the thing, too. It's like sooner or later, you will be exposed. I don't give a crap if you're Harvey Weinstein, you're Bill Cosby. Sooner or later, you are going to be exposed. And then all that stuff that you worked on to be this great director or this great actor and the TV dad and all this other crap, everything you built for Cora, his legacy, Hinch, his legacy is winning it. Where is it now? Do you really want to be seen in public? No, because you just disgraced yourself. You ruined your life. You sold your soul, and now you pay the piper.
I want to switch gears a little bit with you, KT. Obviously, we here in Las Vegas, we are focused, ready for the Raiders to come here, and it is going to be a spectacle that nobody in this town has been able to see as far as an NFL franchise being in this city. But over the weekend, of course, we had an opportunity on television with both the AFC and NFC divisional playoff games to see a couple of really good coaches, great coaches in my opinion, in Jimmy Johnson and, of course, Bill Cowher getting, very emotional and getting very TV-worthy, basically notifications that they are about to be inducted into the Pro Football Hall of Fame. But then I started to, kind of think about it in retrospect as someone who is a 12-year-old kid back in 1980 through 1982, and I had a chance to live up in the Central Valley, up near Fresno, California, and I had a chance to watch those great Oakland Raider teams and those great Seattle Seahawks teams, those rivalries in that AFC West. And there happened to be a coach who not only as a player was extremely influential, but as a coach won multiple Super Bowls. And I thought to myself, wow, it seems to me Bill Cowher and Jimmy Johnson getting in, but there's a guy by the name of Tom Flores that should have got in. And then on Monday, I flip over to tune into our friend of ours, JT the Brick, and he was just absolutely going off on the air of the snubbing of Tom Flores by the Pro Football Hall of Fame. Now, look, this is nothing against Jimmy Johnson. This is nothing against Bill Cowher, but talk about your thoughts as to Tom Flores and his spot and where he belongs when it comes to the Pro Football Hall of Fame.
Somebody I've known for over 2 decades, Tom Flores, a class act. I lived in L.A. when the Raiders were there. Tom Flores, assistant coach to Madden's Super Bowl. Madden only has one, but he's in the Hall of Fame. You're right. Flores has two. Not only that, he breaks the Hispanic barrier to get there as far as the coaches. He plays quarterback. He's a color commentator for 20 years. 60 years in this freaking league. And you're going to snub this guy again? You're right. Jimmy Johnson, great job. Great Cowboy teams. That's all well and good. And same with Cowher, great Steeler teams. But this guy belongs in the Hall of Fame. And are you going to be like you are with Cliff Branch, NFL, and wait till the guy dies to put him in the Hall of Fame? It's an absolute travesty. It is one of the biggest injustices I've ever seen. Cliff Branch belongs in there, but nobody more from the Raider organization than Tom Flores. I know this guy, and I know this is crushing him from his home in Palm Springs, California. I know this is absolutely crushing this 82-year-old man that dedicated 60 years to the NFL. It's an absolute joke. I will have Coach Flores on my show, but this is just something that's as sick as Jerry Kramer not getting in for all those years for the Green Bay Packers. And I had Jerry on my show. We did a push to try and get him. How could this guy, the most instrumental of all the offensive linemen for Bart Starr and the Packers, not be in? Finally, he gets in a couple years ago, the Super Bowl in Minneapolis. Now, I have no words for it. It is absolutely disgusting. Again, hats off to Johnson and Cowher, but you don't tell me, because these two guys are on national TV shows as far as the NFL, that's had something to do with it, so they can make the little announcements prior to these other announcements like, oh, it's great, oh, it's unbelievable. Yeah.
It was a love fest. It really was, wasn't it? I mean,
it's an absolute joke.
Hey, so speaking of NFL, KT, the Titans are up 21-0. They are driving. The Chiefs are they're on their heels. They've made a couple of stupid turnovers. The defense is extremely tired. I think they're on the 19-yard line. It's 4th and 1. Bill O'Brien, who has been called a moron by pretty much everybody in sports, and I think he had a chance to really redeem himself this game, which he did not. But he elects to kick the field goal. He kicks the field goal. They go up 24-0. The Chiefs score. It's 24-7. Bill O'Brien, I think, is on his own 25. It's 4th and 3. He decides to run a fake punt. Was that the worst sequence of plays in the history of the NFL playoffs, in your opinion?
Yeah, here's the thing. What happened on the 4th and 1 is they actually thought they got the first down. I read this whole thing. So they sent the different unit on there. All of a sudden, clock's running down, so they take the timeout. He's like, all right, screw it, just kick the field goal. Look, I don't have a problem with that because that puts me up 3 complete scores, 3 touchdowns, 3 two-point conversions. Got no problem with that. So KC comes down. But, yes, then there's a thing that I talk about on my show all the time, R&R, risk and reward. You're on your own 27-yard line. Okay, they have a little momentum. They got a touchdown. What's the risk? The risk is incredible because if you don't make it, you're leaving them a short field. You know they're going to come down and make it 24-14. What's the reward? You get a first down on your own 32-yard line. Commend Sorensen. What an incredible tackle.
That was a great tackle.
This guy ought to be doing all the videos for how to make a tackle in the NFL. You'll avoid all types of targeting. This is an incredible play. If Sorensen doesn't get him, it's a gain of 15. But it's a phenomenal play. He smells it out. And so the risk overweighed the reward for Houston. For Tennessee. For Houston, I'm sorry. And then they end up getting beat. And Tennessee's going to get beat, too, by the way, by Kansas City. I know everybody's riding this Derrick Henry stuff, but that's coming to an end, man. I'm just so fired up, though, Chris. And you know what? I give Houston a lot of credit. I had money on Kansas City. When they were down 24-0, I really thought they were done. But the one touchdown, and then the thing that really changed it is after you get that second touchdown, you can't choreograph that kickoff return where the ball pops out and right into the other guy's hands.
That was crazy.
To the 3-yard. You can't do that. You can do that a million times and never get that right. And that play to me, that kind of let me know that Kansas City was going to win that football game.
I'll tell you something crazy. When KC scored, or when they scored the second time, the line, I think, was the live line was like KC minus 160 or something like that. I'm thinking to myself, it's 24-14.
The in-game, they were just giving no respect whatsoever to the Texans.
How the hell is this possible?
On the in-game, anywhere.
And I'm watching the game, and I had a future on the Texans. It wasn't big. It was like $30 to 1, $150 to win 4K or something like that. But I was feeling good about it, obviously, because I've also got the Titans at 100 to 1 to win the AFC. Which I feel, I don't think they win the game, but I don't think they get blown out either. You got to keep in mind this Titans defense is fast, way faster than the Texans, and I think that Vrabel is obviously a significantly better coach. I mean, he outcoached Belichick in the last 5 minutes of that Patriots game. But I look at that game and I'm just thinking to myself, how is this possible? And then I'm hoping that he doesn't fumble the ball, and that's exactly what he does. He runs up to the 15-yard line, he gets smoked, and the ball literally, you're right, it just dropped out of the air like a gift from God into the Kansas City Chiefs defender's hands. And you're right, man. But at that point, I was just shocked that the end game, despite the fact that they were down 10 points, was minus 160 for KC. What do you think about that, Ken?
I agree with you. And here's the other thing. Hey, look, I have a lot of respect for Stephen A. Smith, but when he said no fault of Lamar Jackson, blame it all on Harbaugh, here's the thing. Lamar Jackson, as great as he is, and he is the league MVP, there's no doubt during the regular season, but he's got a chance to call audibles. Team was perfect on fourth and ones during the year. He has 2 4th and 1s. What does he do? He runs up the middle of the field into his own lineman's back, and then he doesn't get the first, and then he runs off tackle and doesn't get it. In other words, if you're that good and that elusive, which you are, we've seen you in the open field, the first, second, third guy going to miss. Why will you run up the middle on a 4th and 1? Because when you take it in shotgun, it's no longer a 4th and 1. It's a 4th and 3, 4th and 4, 4th and 5, whatever it is, and you screwed yourself. And so I put fault on the back of Lamar Jackson. As great a season as he's had, his fault on those 4th and 1s, because he just needs to get outside, and he's going to get those first downs.
And crazy part about that game is he still had 500 yards. Yeah. He had 360 passing and like 140 rushing. The guy didn't play bad. The Titans were just the better team. And you know who played great for the Titans was Adoree Jackson. He came back for the first time. And,
baby.
Oh, my God. And you're telling me he can't guard Tyreek Hill, an injured Tyreek Hill? I think he can.
Yeah, but you got. Remember, you got McCole Hardman, you got Sammy Watkins, you got Travis Kelce, you got 4 of the fastest receivers ever on one NFL team. That's what makes it tough. And then you got Williams underneath. That's a pretty good receiver out of the backfield. And you've got Mahomes, who understands, get outside the tackle box. I can run, I can slide. What are you doing, man? Good luck. Good luck, Tennessee. As great as they played, this is a bad matchup for them speed-wise, but I will say that Tannehill is playing at an incredibly high level, and if he continues to throw the ball on the money when you're looking for Derrick Henry off tackle, Tennessee will be dangerous.
Yeah, and that throw to Khalif Raymond, that second touchdown, I thought was one of the best throws I've seen all year. It was an absolute bomb. It was a dime. Is Jayon Brown playing this weekend? Because that's important, because he's the guy that can spy Mahomes, I believe.
Yeah, that's. I will check injury reports. All I want to tell you guys is you do a great job. No need to get Shapiro rushing. You guys should kind of give him the week off, because right now, trust me, the ratings are through the roof. I mean, as good as they were with Shappy, they have doubled today with you two guys at the helm.
It's Ken Thompson. He's the host of Sports X Radio. Does a great job on his show, 8 to 10 p.m. right here on KDWN. They talk everything, JD. We're talking college hoops. We're talking college football. I mean, the college football season's over, but NFL playoffs. He'll talk NHL. He'll talk Major League Baseball. He's got his guys Fish. He's got Noah. Exactly. He's got all those guys. He's got a great show.
He's got a guy for every single sport, and they go across the board. And his UFC picks are as good as you're ever going to find.
Ken, have a good Tuesday. We'll talk to you again soon. All right, my friend? Ken Thompson joining us here. The Sports X Radio every night. And,
absolutely.
He's very passionate when it comes to issues like guys getting snubbed in people that he's acquaintances with, friends with. Okay, that he believes are getting a raw deal, and Ken, he'll be straight up and he'll come strong, and that's why he's a fun personality to listen to on the radio.
Absolutely, all the respect in the world. And when the Raiders came to Vegas, no one was more excited than Ken Thompson. He has connections deep down into the Raiders. I mean, I'm talking from Violator to Mark Davis to obviously Tom Flores to the late Lester Hayes. I mean, he has connections all over the place in the Raiders, and Ken is he's in a good place now that they're coming to Vegas. Baby.
And it's Championship Sunday coming up as we have the Titans taking on the Kansas City Chiefs there at Arrowhead, and of course the Green Bay Packers. They'll be in Santa Clara to take on the San Francisco 49ers. Aaron Rodgers and the Pack, they've been there before. Titans haven't been there since Steve McNair was the late Steve McNair was the quarterback there for Tennessee. I think we got a real good chance, JD, to get some fresh blood in the Super Bowl for the first time in a long time.
Well, it's looking to me like this Allstate commercial. It's looked like they've spent about $2 billion rigging this thing. It's been in our face the entire time. Mahomes, Rodgers, Super Bowl probably going to take place. No, but in all honesty, I think the under in the Packers-Niners game is one of the best plays of the year. They're not scoring more than 28 points in that game all game. No way. I love the under in that game.
More of the Vegas Take is coming your way next here. 101.5 FM, 720 AM, Kate.